It's down about 49% for the year. That's a significant dip. And the question is really, should investors be buying it?
Let's move on to the final must-buy bargain stock you shared in your article this week. It may be a bargain stock, but their products, they don't come at such a great price point. I may be familiar with this stock and this company, but I can honestly say I've never owned a pair. We're talking about Lululemon today, Chris.
Yeah, Bridget, you and me both. You and I are probably the kind of shoppers that are contributing to the fact that Lululemon's been struggling recently. At least the stock has. It's down about 49% for the year. That's a significant dip. And the question is really, should investors be buying it now? This is one of those cases where many investors buy stocks of companies that they do business with, that they identify with. So therefore, if you're a frequent consumer at Starbucks, you might want to buy Starbucks stock. It's a company that you're always going to kind of be keeping in tabs on because you shop there frequently. It may surprise you, Bridget, to know that I am not the target audience for Lululemon, but I can understand the consumer that they're trying to go after. And these are brand loyal consumers, and they believe that there's a certain cachet to owning that label. That being said, my bigger concern with Lululemon is not necessarily anything that has to do with revenue and earnings. I think that's going to be I think that's a symptom of the broader economy that will probably wash out in time. I'm concerned about that they're saying there's a lack of innovation. Some analysts believe that Lululemon isn't the most innovative brand anymore. That would concern me a little bit more. They just postponed the launch of their breeze through leggings because there was consumer complaints about the brand. The Lululemon says they're going to plan on relaunching the brand by taking that feedback into consideration and relaunching a better product. It's kind of an interesting crowdsourcing approach, and it may work for the company. That's the one thing that would concern me. However, I did mention in my article, I noticed that there's been a spike in institutional buying recently. And so that tells me that maybe you need to be paying more attention to what the institutions are doing than maybe what the institutions are saying.
Interesting. Chris, you mentioned it a little bit about the economic
Yeah.
factor. Thomas, I know you follow CPI really closely. It's no secret consumer confidence has really been down. Many shoppers are focusing on those essentials like groceries and not spending so much money on these luxury type brands like Lululemon. Do you think that that is really going to have a shift in what this stock does? Is really based more on the economy?
Well, I think that there is probably some economic impact, inflation related. There are some other premium retailers like Williams Sonoma who are experiencing similar headwinds. However, the difference is that Lululemon is still growing. The biggest headwind for it is that growth is slowing, but the latest guidance is still good. I think the sell off is overextended. It's ready for a rebound. It's definitely a value at 16 times next year's earnings. But again, analysts have been lowering their price target, so that kind of presents a bit of a headwind for the share price action. I think maybe we could get a 10 to 20% upside from current levels. The upside certainly isn't what it used to be, but I do think there is some upside in this stock.
Yeah, it's hard to get into a stock when you see it's down 49% in a year. Is there a risk here that it could just keep going lower?
Oh, there's always that risk. It just depends on the subsequent earnings reports. The company could continue to underperform, and that would lead the analysts to continue adding pressure. But like Chris said, the institutions are buying at this level, so that shows a pretty good amount of support for the market. If it were to dip any further, I would expect to see it rebound pretty quickly.